Unicorns and Dragon Eggs, or Amber's Mother Conspiracy, by Lise.
I'll never understand you ponies.
Amber shook her head.
The hugging and the feelings, I somehow understand. But putting food into food?
She sighed.
That's just you!
Amber shouted, flames coming out of her mouth as she pointed at the other end of the hall. Everyone looked in that direction only to see a very surprised Trixie making her way into the map room. Upon seeing Amber, the magician's ears shot up. Her eyes widened in the combination of surprise and terror as she slowly took a step back.
Finally, I found you!
Amber spun her wings, crossing half the distance.
This time I won't let you get away! Trixie can explain?
The magician offered a nervous smile as droplets of sweat coursed down her face.
Amber, don't!
Twilight teleported in between Trixie and the dragon.
Please don't do anything rash. Remember all the friendship lessons I've been sending you. No!
Amber pushed her away without a moment's hesitation.
This time we're going to have a serious talk. Amber, please. Whatever it is, I'm sure...
Twilight tried to intervene, only to be completely ignored.
Mother!
Amber crossed her arms.
I bet it's all a
Twilight stopped mid-word.
What?
She stared at Trixie. Silence filled the hall. 6 ponies and a dragon stared at the Amber-Trixie exchange, speechless. Only Fluttershy allowed herself a slight smile that she quickly covered with a hoof.
Trixie said she can explain,
the magician repeated, slight annoyance in her voice.
It happened long ago. Trixie was young and naive and believed she was the most great and powerful being in Equestria.
Not much has changed since then, I reckon, Applejack whispered.
But, your mother?
Twilight's wings shot up in shock.
Trust me, I'm not too thrilled about it either.
Amber narrowed her eyes.
From the tales my father told me, I thought she was this powerful unicorn who left the Dragonlands in pursuit of new lands to conquer shortly after I was born. Turns out she went on a show tour. Trixie went in pursuit of new audiences.
The magician grumbled, her ears flopping halfway.
But stop!
Twilight shouted.
How is it even possible? You're a dragon and Trixie's a pony. There's no way she could be your mother, right?
Twilight moved her face to an inch from Amber.
Right?
She turned to Trixie, grabbing her with both forehoofs.
Why are you freaking out?
Amber raised a brow.
Is that a pony thing?
She turned to Spike.
Freaking out? Freaking out!
Twilight shouted.
How am I supposed to react? Trixie, how can she be your mother?
Why couldn't Trixie be her mother? The magician pushed Twilight off her with an indignant glare.
Are you suggesting that Trixie isn't good enough? Trixie will have you know that she was a prodigy in her youth.
The blue unicorn raised her chin with a humph.
Dragon!
Twilight pointed to Amber.
Pony!
She then moved her hoof towards Trixie.
Dragon, pony! Dragon, pony!
Twilight stopped, her chest expanding and contracting as a pair of giant bellows. No one dared to speak a word, looking at her quietly as if she were a volcano about to explode. Even Trixie forgot her fox outrage.
What?
The Princess of Friendship asked, aware she had become the new target of everyone's stares.
I'm absolutely, 100%, undoubtedly right! It just isn't possible!
She stomped her hoof on the marble floor.
My hatching mother.
Amber rolled her eyes.
Of course she isn't my real mother. Hatching mother?
Twilight blinked.
The unicorn that hatches the egg?
Twilight whispered.
You know, like you did during your magic exam? What? Come on, Twi.
Rainbow Dash smirked.
You should know this. You know everything, right? What in Equestria are you talking about?
Sweat started to form on the alicorn's forehead. Spike slapped his face.
What? Dragon eggs can't hatch on their own,
Amber began.
The shell is too hard for even a baby dragon to break and resistant to dragon fire. It can only be cracked by unicorn magic. What did you think? That Trixie is actually my birth mother? That'd be stupid. Huh? What? Huh?
Twilight's eyes and ears twitched.
Are you saying that all dragons were hatched by unicorns? Actually, this is insane. It's ludicrous, impossible, unbelievable.
Twilight's breath hastened, stopping a hair short of hyperventilation.
I refuse to believe it. Dragon egg hatching has been part of the entrance exam of the SGU for generations. That's what it is, an exam. It has nothing to do with natural spike.
Twilight turned towards the dragon.
You've never thought of me as a mother. That's because you always treated me like a younger brother.
The dragon sighed.
Celestia only told me a few years ago, and I knew how much you'd freak out if I suddenly started calling you Mom. What? See what I mean?
But... Excuse me, maybe I can try and explain things. Rarity stepped forward, waving her mane as she did. Twilight, darling, you believe in sound logic, is that not true? Timidly, Twilight nodded. Wonderful! As you said yourself, dragon hatching has been part of the entrance exam to Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns, going back generations. Is that correct? Uh-huh. And is it fair to say that every pony who has been admitted has succeeded in hatching a dragon egg?
Yes.
Twilight tilted her head. In that case, where do all the hatched dragons go? Rarity smiled. They aren't in Canterlot, and surely the school isn't reusing the same eggs for generations.
Yes, but...
Twilight raised her hoof. Several moments passed in silence.
Surely...
She stopped again. Utter silence filled the room.
I would have known. It would have been written somewhere. Surely. Besides, there are hundreds of thousands of dragons. A simple calculation would show that there aren't nearly enough SGU alumni to have hatched all those.
Trixie grumbled.
Of course, the princess would only consider unicorns from her elite school capable of hatching dragon eggs. It doesn't matter that at that age Trixie had a job, nay, a career. But no, only stuck-up book unicorns could hatch dragon eggs. Hey, my mom might not be the best mom.
Amber began to which Trixie humphed again.
But she's my mom, and I won't have you insult her like this. Good job writing all those friendship lessons if you don't even follow them. But...
Twilight swallowed.
Every unicorn can hatch dragons?
She looked around.
Every unicorn has hatched dragons?
Well, it wasn't my proudest moment, darling. Rarity adjusted her mane. Not to mention the complete ruffian my daughter has become. Belching and swearing. She covered her face with a hoof. It's just too much for a mother to take.
Some pony hatched garble?
Twilight asked in disbelief.
And Mrs. Ditzily?
Pinkie Pie hopped joyfully.
Else you think she'd send an envelope of gems to the Dragonlance every week? Crackle?
Twilight's ears drooped.
Lyra Heartstrings.
Rarity nodded.
She always had a certain artistic flair. Dragon Lord Torch?
Twilight turned to Spike, her eyes begging for support.
Please tell me Princess Celestia didn't hatch him. Nah.
The dragon whelp waved.
Luna, the thing about that is that... No!
Twilight shouted, interrupting him mid-sentence.
No!
She charged out of the hall, galloping down the corridor towards the castle library. Still and silent, the entire group watched the princess disappear out of view. Once the echo of her hoofsteps faded away, they looked at each other. It was clear beyond a shadow of a doubt that Twilight hadn't taken it well. If the last was any indication, she would probably barricade herself with her books where she'd spend the next few weeks in furious reading until she finally calmed down.
Do you think we went too far?
Amber asked.
I mean, she seemed a bit upset. I don't know.
Spike scratched his head.
I've seen her worse, but nah. I'll tell her it was a joke in about a week. She'll run out of books by then anyway. If you all would excuse me, Trixie has an appointment at the spa,
the magician said, adjusting her hat. You know where to find Trixie when it's time for the next one. She trotted down the hall.
Yeah, about that. What will we do next week?
Spike asked, turning to Pinkie Pie.
It'll be pretty difficult topping this. Oh, I don't know.
Pinkie looked innocently at the ceiling.
If Thorax manages to make it, I think I have something planned. I call it The Hills Have Eyes.
We here at Pony&Wolf Productions thank these amazing patrons of ours for their monthly support, without which all of this would not be possible. We sincerely appreciate it, and every dollar helps, is needed, and will be used to keep us going to produce audiobooks for your continued enjoyment. It is, now more than ever, important that you support your favorite creators if possible, due to YouTube changing in a way that is not very friendly to content creators. Especially small content creators, like us. In recent months, the names you see on screen have enabled Midnight and Visual Pony to keep going and only having to sell off part of their belongings to not end up on the street. As an incentive for everyone, Visual Pony has broken a vow and has promised to read and record Fallout Equestria, Murky number 7, should the monthly support reach $1,500. To be clear, this is the absolute minimum amount needed to keep the apartment and all bills paid without starving, while a production of this size is ongoing. The estimated time for this production would be 3 to 4 years, but people already said that Project Horizons was impossible to do, right? And now look who did it, so with Pony&Wolf, you know we can finish the job. For further information on how to support us, please have a look at the description of this video, as there are also other ways, like our merch store. Sincerely and forever yours, your Pony&Wolf team.